We have learned how to create object, how to move it. Now we will learn how to control the object. Like on the key press, the object should move. Okay, so we will write a program in which we will create one object which is circle, and based on our key press, the object will move left, right, top or bottom. Okay, so for that we first need to import some libraries, then we need to create a display. The third step is we will create the object which you want to move. You can either create circle, rectangle, line, anything, and then based on the key hit, the object will move. Either it will move left, right, top or bottom. So let's create a program and let's move the object. The first step is we will import the libraries. So let's import the first library, which is Pygame. After importing the library, we will initialize the library. So let's initialize the library. To initialize all the models in the Pygame, we write pygame.init method. So with the help of this, the modules are initialized. Now let's create a display, and on that display, we will also set a caption. So let's create the display. To create a display, we have method which is pygame.display.setMode, and here we need to pass the size of the window, the size of the screen which you are going to create now. So here you have to pass the size in the form of a tuple. You can't just pass 1000, 200, so it will not accept. So you have to give it in a round bracket in the form of a tuple. You have to pass it. After creating the display, now we can also give a title to our window. So let's give title. So to give a title, we have to use a method which is known as setCaption. And just give the name, move an object. Okay, so this is the title we have set for our window. Now I have already explained you the logic to move any object. So that's why we will initialize the x and y coordinate outside the for loop, and we will change the position of the x and y coordinate to move the object inside the loop. Okay, so first initialize or set the size of the object. So write x coordinate and y coordinate. You can take any parameter, or you can also give values like 10. So this is the first position. This is the position where we will set our circle. So the position at 10, 10. Now create a for loop. And this while loop will run until the value of running changes. So basically the value is set to true. Then we are going to check all the events in the queue, because whatever the event has happened or happening in the program, all those events gets logged in the queue. We are going to use a for loop to iterate through each and every event to check the type of event. For event in, we have to check all the events in the event queue. Okay, so pygame.event.get. Now let's check the type of event. So if event.type let's check the type of event. If the event type is quit, then we will close the program, and we will, to terminate the loop, we will change the value of running. So first value of running is true, and this loop will run until the value of running is true. So this loop will run continuously. But if some event occurs and if that event type is quit, then we will change the value of this running to false. And in this way, we can terminate the while loop. Now we have to check the key press. So we will check which key is hit. So hit is equal to, I'm going to check which type of keys are pressed. So pygame dot key, and I'm going to check the status of the key. So with the help of get pressed, we will get the key identifiers. So with the help of this, we will check which key is pressed actually. Now let's check which keys are pressed. So now we are going to perform action. The image will move to the left side if the L key is pressed. The image will move to the right side if R key is pressed. The image will move to top if T is pressed, and image will move to bottom if B is pressed. So let's create the if and else, if parts, if conditions, and based on the key pressed, we will take the required action. So if keys pygame dot, so let's check the identifier which are pressed, like keys pygame dot k dot l. K dot l is k underscore is the constant identifier, and if you want to identify which key is pressed, then you have to check the identifier. So the identifier is k underscore and then the name of the key. So if the left key is pressed, I'm going to shift the position by 5. So the image will move to left with the decrement factor of 5. So let's copy this and write the code for all the positions. So if R key is pressed, that is the right side key is pressed, then I will increment it by 5. If the key is pressed, if the top key is pressed, then I will change the Y position. And if the bottom key is pressed, I am going to increment it by 5. Okay. And finally, so this is the logic which will move our image. So if left key is pressed, L key is pressed, then it will move it to left side by 5. So in this way, we are going to move the image. Now let's change the background. To change the background, screen dot fill and set the color of background. Then also set the clock ticks. We have not initialized the clock here, so let's do that as well. So let's create the clock first. And set the frame per second ratio. Now let's create the object which we want to move. Suppose I want to create a circle, then pygame dot, in the draw method, in the draw class, you will get all the drawing primitives. And you have to pass the surface on which you want to create a circle. So screen. Then you have to pass the color of the circle. Then pass the coordinates, that is x and y. And dynamically this x and y coordinate will get updated based on the key hit. And then pass the radius. Then update your screen. So pygame dot display dot update your screen. And then finally quit your application. Pygame dot quit. Okay. So let's try to run this program and let's see. Invalid syntax. Yes, because we have not terminated this by colon. Expected an indentation, yes. tab is expected because indentation is necessary. We got the output, but again we got an error. Keys is not defined. Okay, so the problem is we have written here hit. So actually I should write hit here instead of keys. Because whatever the key will be pressed, that will be stored in this variable, and in this variable we have to check which key is basically pressed, and based on that we have to take the action. Okay, so we can restart and clear the output. Run this. Still it's not responding because there must be some problem. Okay, so let's go through the code one more time to check what is the problem. Pygame, init, clock, then mode, caption, true. Then let's see all the events. Let's put some delay here. Let's see if that works. Okay, then events, get event type, running. Then we are going to check the status. Hit. Okay, it's fine. Screen.field. Yes, it should be in the form of a tuple. So restart it. Run this. Okay. So I'm pressing R key. So it's moving to right side. I'm pressing B. Bottom key is not working. Top key is working. Bottom key is not working. So let's check what is the problem with bottom key. Yes, it should be Y. Now let's run the code. Now I'm pressing the bottom B key. It's going bottom, top. I'm pressing the left key. Now I'm pressing the right key. Okay. So now let's change this clock ticks and see what happens. Okay. So this is, in this way you can control your object with the help of event handling, and with the help of event handling and different techniques. So in this way you can create object and move the object, and you can also control the object.